we started a youth program a couple years ago. Our school had no wrestling. We didn't have high school wrestling. We didn't have any junior high. We had nothing. And the odds were against us to start a wrestling program. We had no money. We had to prove to the school that there was an interest in the school. We're the smallest school district in the state of Iowa. The person that was trying to organize it, get it started, happened to be me, and I'd never been on a mat a day of my life. So that put the odds against us quite a little bit. But once we got started and everything, we recruited a couple coaches that I say is the lifeline of our wrestling program. Just to give you a little bit of credentials of our youth club coach. In our first year, all the obstacles that we mentioned above, I feel that we had a very strong program. Our first year, we had 4 district champs. We had a 3rd place qualifier at districts. We had a 7th place in Pee Wee State. We had a 3rd place winner in the state. We had 2 national champs. We had a 3rd place in the world out of Reno, Nevada. And we had an AAU Outstanding Athlete of the Year. A lot of these kids had never been on a mat. Some of them had been on a mat to a prior youth club, but a lot of these had. Our second year, we had 2 state qualifiers. We had a 3rd place state qualifier. We had a state champion. We had 5 medals that we brought home at state, which was a 2nd, a 5th, a 7th, and 2 8ths. At the World Championships in Tulsa, we had a 3rd and a 4th place, with it also a 5th. We also had a champion that won down in Tulsa that came from another club that worked with us. Our coach's philosophy, and he'll tell you a little bit later, is not just have your club wrestle. Extend it to the clubs that's next to you. You know, if you have a little town next to you or a bigger town, let them come to your club. He'll explain that. As I started to say, we had no wrestling club, and what my job here today is going to be is to kind of walk you through how we started from square. I did a 45-minute speech here, but they tell us that there was a mistake there, and we got to cut this in half. So some of this stuff we're going to skip over that I had here in this speech wrote out. So bear with me as I read this. Our first attempt was to join our neighboring school. We wasn't going to start a wrestling program because we didn't know there was really enough interest in our school. After that school, after a year of negotiating with us, they told us we could consolidate our school. It would be the only way that we would get a wrestling program. So that wasn't going to be an option. So with that, I went back to our school board and said, hey, I think there's enough interest in the school. Could we start a wrestling program? And they said to us, they said, well, we need to do a survey. So that prompted us to get the program started. We did a survey, and it showed enough interest that was minimal. Our superintendent did. Our superintendent wasn't for the program at all. We had 4 kids. I have 4 kids in the school program. One was in high school, junior high, and elementary. And those kids went around asking the other kids, and that kind of joined them together, getting them interested in it. So like I said, when the survey came out, it showed that there was some interest. Politics always enter into this because it happened to be election year. There were several seats being ran for the seats. Well, one of the questions on the ballot was, or on the forum was, do you support wrestling? And would you start a wrestling program if you were elected? Well, the 2 that won said yes, they would start a wrestling program if there was interest in that. During all that debating and stuff, 3 of the school board members that was on the board, they said that they would support it if there was enough startup costs. So when those 2 that said they would that got elected, that meant there was 5 votes that said yes, we would start a wrestling program if there was startup costs. So with that in mind, after they got elected, I went around to the neighboring businesses and some of the businesses that was there were former wrestling kids that had went to one state, and now they own their own businesses. And some of them had wrestled in college and still had the love for wrestling, and had kids coming up that happened to be in our school district. So they wanted a wrestling program too. So in 2 weeks, we raised $10,500 worth of money in 2 weeks in pledges to start the high school wrestling program. When I took that back to the board and said, will you start it? The superintendent once again said, hey, let's wait a year. And the school board said, nah, we got the startup cost. We're starting it now. So now we had a wrestling program. We needed coaches. It just so happened that when they hired a coach for our school, he happened to be the head youth coach at the neighboring school that they wouldn't share a program with. So now we got their youth club coach to be our head coach. And Jim Drain was one of the youth club coaches that was with the head coach over there. So he asked Jim to head up our youth club, and sure enough, Jim did. Getting the kids interested. Now that we had the coaches and we had the program, you really have to get the kids interested. So at the elementary level, we sent registrations through the school. We we scanned pictures in magazines that had wrestling magazines, wrestling things on their shirts. Put those flyers on the lockers in the school. Had to do something to counter the basketball, because they were either going to wrestle or basketball or do nothing, one of the three. So another thing that we did, we had a person that was interested in wrestling, and he was trying to get a Dan Gable tape. Well, Dan Gable, when he's trying to get a Dan Gable tape, Dan happened to answer the phone, and this gentleman went through the story that we were trying to start a wrestling program, and Dan said, well, I'm coming down through the area. He says, would you like for me to stop and talk to the kids? What a great motivation. We had a packed auditorium. The kids, some of the kids, you got to remember this, the school had never wrestled before. Want to know who Dan Gable was, but then after that, some of the kids went out for wrestling that was there. Some of those kids that went out because they saw this guy that was an idol to everybody. Because of that, they went out, and some of them are some of our best wrestlers. So something like that will get the kids interested. T-shirts. At sign up at registration time, we at registration time, we put registrations out in the Walmart store, the grocery stores, the convenience stores, the mall, the motel room. They have a big lobby where a lot of people go in at this motel room. Kids or moms see these registrations, they wonder what it really is. If you gather 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 kids out of that, just being out in the public, then that wouldn't went out. All that registration sitting out there is well worth it. When you're starting a program, you don't have really any money. Now, we raised the $10,500 for the high school program, but now we're starting a youth program also, and we had no money for the singlets for the youth club and the things that I just mentioned about. So one of the things we did for a fundraiser, we went to Walmart. Walmart won't give you any money and hand you a check, but what they will do is they'll let you have a fundraiser at their store, and they'll match it 50% up to $3,000. At least some of the Walmart stores do. We have a super Walmart that has a grocery store. They expect you to buy the food from them and stuff that when you're selling the hot dogs and the pop and that stuff there. But we raised over $800 and then they matched it, so there was a $1,600 fundraiser in one day. Great opportunity to put some money into your youth club. One of the things we do at registration time is don't charge a lot for registration. You got to charge something so they get ownership. Don't charge a lot of money, because especially if you're starting a youth club, a new one, because the parents are coming in, they're saying, okay, there's this fee for registration, there's shoes, there's singlets, there's insurance card, there's headgear. What else do I have? I'm gonna have a couple $100 in this one before my kid knows if he's even interested in wrestling. So don't charge a lot of the registration fee. Do charge for a deposit on your singlets, because you won't get the singlets back if you don't charge them. So what we do is we charge $15, and at the end of the season we give them back $10. We get $5 for the wear and tear on the singlet, and they turn in the singlets at the year-end party that we have at the motel. The motel gives us a room, a banquet room, the pool, free of charge at the end of the year, because we put on our registration form their phone number for our youth tournament. Now, some motels will give you maybe $100 or $50 if you put their name on the registration form. A great idea for another fundraiser, so that you can have some money in your kids' club. We require our kids to wear shorts or pants over their singlets, because if not, like I said earlier, they'll snag them. Once you get a couple, 3 snags in there, the butts more off of it, you got to buy another singlet. It comes out of the co-op money. So, one thing we did this year, or last year, I mean, this is our second year for our club. We did a shoe exchange. Our first year, one of our club members' mom was going shopping. It's in the middle of summer. You won't get this deal unless it's in the summer, and you think a little bit ahead. But there was a shoe store that had a whole bunch of extra shoes, and they were on clearance for $10 a pair. Well, shoes are $40, $50, $60 a pair. So the club bought all the shoes that they had at $10 a pair. We sold them for $12 a pair. That's only $2 of profit. But you got to remember, why you're doing that is so that you can keep the kids interested at not a big expense. You know, the less you make it expensive for the parent to get their young kid in, the more kids you're going to have out for your wrestling tournament. We had a lot of parents that had shoes that came from another club that had 2 or 3 pairs. So what we did there is we bought the shoes for maybe $5, we sold them for $7, and there was another $2 a pair. Some people were reluctant about doing that because they were secondhand shoes, but when you explain to them that it's kind of like going to a bowling alley and you're renting a pair of shoes, they infect them with some spray and stuff, people had no problem with that and were really happy to save the extra bucks. Stories. In order to keep the kids interested, use all kinds of ideas to put your kids out in the news. The Predicament did a story on our youth club one time. Kids just loved it. We got it on the board in the wrestling room. Newspaper. Our local newspaper did a story on our youth tournament. We got that in our wrestling room. They come in there, they see it, they get energized. If somebody doesn't like what's happening, have them read the article. It makes a difference, guys. Local bank. Our local bank has a changeable sign. The bank is willing to, in order to promote the wrestling in the school, which also promotes the football team, because a good football team usually has a good wrestling team. And our AD in our school is ahead of his passion is football. So to get along with them, a lot of the school, or a lot of our city helps promote like this sign. They'll put up on there like congratulations or welcome to West Burlington's youth tournament as people's driving in. Congratulations, Christopher Johnson, or congratulations for winning the first state title or the national title. really motivates the kids, guys. Team player, well, that goes unsaid. You know, you got to have team players in the youth program because really, if you practice, you're practicing as a team. You're really not practicing individually. It is an individual sport, but the team is what really keeps everybody together and wants them to keep them coming back. Booster Club, as I said a little bit ago, Booster Club, get the Booster Club, get the athletic director involved. I've heard horror stories about schools that all the Booster Club money goes to basketball or it goes to baseball or it goes to the football team and the wrestlers don't get it. I saw that when we started. You got to get the AD on your side. You got to get that people in the Booster Club in. If nothing else, have some wrestling parents join the Booster Club because then you become a little bit ownership of it. Our athletic director asked our Booster Club to pay the entry fees for a couple of our youth tournaments for the 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade because this is his feeder program for his high school program. His high school program feeds his football team. So it all's hand in hand. Newsletter. This is something that we implemented that really helps our program. We on this newsletter, you can put dates of upcoming tournaments that you're going to go to. You can put tournaments of your high school. People will put this on their refrigerator and refer back to those dates. You'll have kids' names. You can put kids' name for maybe having the fastest pin at one of the tournaments, or you can put one of the things our coach Jim Green does is at our tournaments or at our practices, Jim hands out medals, and he'll get to that. You can put in there things like that in your newsletter. We had when Dan Gable came to our school, you can put something like that with maybe a picture of 4 or 5 of the wrestlers. This goes out to everybody, including the athletic director, the school board, gets them behind you. So build a program like that. Wrestling bus. We have a wrestling bus in our program. This can be very expensive, but what we found out was you're going to have parents in the youth club that they'll send their kids to school or they'll send their kids to the wrestling practices, but when it comes to getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get their kids to the tournament by 7 o'clock so they can get weighed in, you'll find out that they either work Saturday night or Friday night, or Saturday morning, or that they have to work Saturday morning during the day. You'll find out that they party Friday night and forget the tournament even though they sent the registration in. To counter that, we started carpooling. Well, carpooling wasn't going to work because this kid wanted to ride with that kid wanted to ride with this kid. There wasn't enough room. Leaving at the same time and getting there at the same time wasn't happening, and we figured that that's pretty important as a club because we like to set together at our youth tournament or at these tournaments we go to. If you set together, you can promote each other. Everybody seems like a big group and club, which is really important. So what we did, we bought a wrestling bus. Ironically, 2 weeks after I bought this bus, I was ready to sell that bus. Total chaos happened with this bus. The kids got in there and they were yelling, they were screaming, they were cussing, they were trying to out-yell the next person sitting next to them, throwing stuff. This kid's looking at me, this kid's not looking at me, this kid is calling me names. It got so bad within 2 weeks that our wrestling coach that was driving the bus said if something doesn't happen, he wasn't going to drive the bus ever again. So what we did was we put West Burlington Youth Wrestling on the side. We put the coach's name on the front. We painted the school colors, green and white. We put a TV in it, we put a VCR in it. We sat the kids down and we told them, here's some rules, you're going to abide by them or else you're not going to ride the bus. You're representing the school, you're representing our coaches, you're representing the city, the town. Look at all the stuff that the city is behind you guys with the newspaper articles, the bank is behind you by putting your names up in lights. This is going to stop or you don't ride the bus. It was like a night and day. It was like flipping the light switch. You could hear a pin drop in that bus going to and from the tournaments. We let the kids bring their favorite tape to watch on the way to a tournament. We will videotape the tournament. We will put that tape in the tournament. We'll let them watch that tape on the way to the tournament, which builds up their anxiety, or I guess is what you want to call it. It gets them pumped up for the tournament that they're going to. Great thing to have. But you gotta separate. Okay. A couple little things. Added our wrestling room. We had no walls. Remember, we just got it started. Well, we had no walls padded in, and about a week after we started the program, or a year after we started, my son Christopher and another kid the same week broke their foot. Believe it or not, we had a kid that was in like the second grade, I believe. His dad was a real big shot at General Electric, and this kid was awesome. This kid had more desire to wrestle than anybody I ever seen. His dad was in college and stuff. His dad came up to me and said, you know, I think the GE Elephants Club would love to help you guys out and pad the walls. Less than a month later, our whole wrestling room was padded because we did stuff for his kid, and his kid, he didn't want his kid to get hurt also. So use what is available, I guess is what I'm saying. In the back of the paper that we handed out is hand those out. In the back of the paper, we have a youth program, and there's things in there that we think is important. We had 409 kids at our youth tournament. We give out big trophies. Do I have time for? Okay. We think that things are important, and some of the things that are in the back is like putting numbers on their hands and putting numbers on the wall so that you can coordinate the second round to that kid, and you don't have all that screaming and yelling in the holding area after the first round. We give out big trophies. We have certified officials that is very important. We have a suggestion box. This is important, guys. A suggestion box that we let the people that come to the tournament write out what they didn't like. Don't have a suggestion box if you're not going to do something about it, because take those suggestions, take the best ideas out of it, implement that into your program, and you'll have people coming back. Another thing that we do, we pull out about 20 names out of our registration forms, and we call those people. Just random people and say, what did you like, what did you not like, and I'm not going to go through all this. I don't know if we have time for you to say a few words. We don't. So I guess with that, I'm ran off the stage, and I thank you guys for listening.
Something else you might want to do, the school has provided safety equipment, so if I want something, sometimes I'll call the school insurance people and say, hey, how safe is this? And then they call the business director and I use it to get the stuff I need. So it's kind of a good way of doing it, kind of round back. The insurance guy calls and says, somebody gets hurt, you're liable, and they usually provide it. So anyway, with that, I have the junior high coach of the year, Rugalla, come up.
Get on your feet. Stand up. You guys in the back, I ain't going to put up with that stuff. I'm telling you Yeah, pay attention or out the door. All right, do what I do. This is weak. I can't hear you. This is weak.
This is weak.
That was weak. I want to hear it. This is weak.
This is weak.
This is strong.
This is strong.
This is weak.
This is weak.
This is strong.
This is strong.
This is wrong.
This is wrong.
This is right.
This is right.
This is wrong.
This is wrong.
This is right.
This is right.
When you teach young people, you got to make connections. For 33 years, I've been involved with sport. You can sit down. Thank you. Started in Belmont. I went to one basketball practice. I followed my friends. And after beating the tar out of people up and down and being the shortest guy, the coach said, go to wrestling practice. The next night, I was at wrestling practice. 6 years at Belmont, 2 years at Ellsworth Junior College, 1 year at Chillicothe, Missouri, and when you talked about wrestling down there, you watched it on TV. They didn't understand wrestling. I wanted to come home to Iowa. I did. I've been at Indianola 24 years. I started with Coach Tom Horton. You familiar with that character? I can remember one night, I came down, kid needed a combination. I tore a corner out of his practice schedule. He came in that room, he was furious, throwing stuff around. It was incredible. I got in the shower, I got out of the shower. He's got a pair of scissors. He's cutting my socks up. He's just cutting the hell out of my socks. I looked at him. I said, Tom, what are you doing? He said, you just leave my damn stuff alone. I said, Coach, I forgot my socks tonight. Those are yours. Got up his own socks. Thank you for attending this session. As a wrestling coach, I think you have the best job in the world. My practice starts Monday. I can't wait. You will become a significant adult. Do you know what that means? Every student needs a significant adult. You are a leader. You are a mentor. In the mail last year, Mr. Rugalla, congratulations on being recognized as Junior High Coach of the Year. This award is long past overdue, as you have been very deserving of this award for a long time. The discipline, hard work, intensity, and creativity you established in your junior high practice allowed me to achieve success in high school and collegiate level. And I hope will help me as a coach to give other young athletes opportunity for success. In addition to the actual practices, you taught me proper mental attitude, hard work, and sportsmanship that is required to do well on and off the mat. I am sure you were a large part of the reason that we were state champions in my senior year. Is there a greater honor? The other night I had supper with an executive of Anderson Erickson. And in that supper, I don't know how many times I was greeted by students and athletes. Now, I don't know what my salary would be compared to his. It would be a joke. But this man was in awe. He said, they like you. They respect you. He was jealous. Now, we're not building a bank account, but we are building people. And there's no greater honor to do what you're going to do. Phone call. Brian calls. Brian was an assistant coach at an Iowa school, high school. He says, I heard your voice. I said, what do you mean I heard your voice? He said, well, there was a situation and I heard your voice. What would his old coach do? What you do today will echo for years. Every word, every action, you are a builder. So what is it like to coach junior high wrestling? Oh, let me do a comparison. I walk into Coach Creason's room. Both my boys have been through there. The kids are sitting along the wall. You been there? They're talking about the activities of the day. It's like church in there. A little quiet before the storm. I walk into my practice. God help me, they find me a place, because I'm in junior high. God help me, I get my math. They aren't there yet, and I start Monday. You been there? Just finding a room. I walk in the room. The noise is that close to an F-15 jet hitting its afterburner. There's someone chasing someone else because he's got his shorts. There's a dog pile over there. You got a 70-pound 7th grader getting buried. Doctor soon to see. One year I had a kid come in, had a big bump on his head. Practice even hadn't started. 8th grader put TV hold on, passed out, hit the cement. I didn't even start practice yet. I really like this one. There's my 8th grade girls manager over there beating the hell out of my 8th grade team captain. Whoa! Junior high wrestling. I've got 7 handouts over there. It took me 33 years to make. Now, whoa, you better grab one if you have a junior high coach, because he's a diamond in the rough and you want to help him. The first one's called the Practice Planner. I'm working on my master's at Iowa State, and I would consider myself definitely different than the people in my class. They all have these little planners, electronic stuff, and Franklin planners, and I come in, you know, with my notebook, and I've got my school calendar. And Scott, the guy sits behind me, Scott, look at my planner. It's got every month in it. All I got to do is look at this. Scott says, yeah, well, go to Merle Hay, you can buy a $150 Franklin planner. I went to Walmart and bought one, now it's gathering dust. I still keep that school calendar. The planner has date, practice number, warm-up options, review and polish, heavy workouts, special skills. It helps you get organized. It's over there. Grab one for your coach. Practice for this age group. The activities must relate to skills. I don't do cals. Why in the hell would a 7th and 8th grader need to stretch and warm up? They're already a ball of fire. They're a fart and a skillet ready to go anyway. You don't need to warm them up. You need to cool them down, if anything. Break things down into steps. 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. Simpler is better, guys. Simpler is better. We have special codes. One year, I had the Pamulac boys. They had a bulldog. The bulldog's name was Otis. So even today, you'll hear my kids yell Otis. Now you might wonder what Otis is. Otis was a bulldog. He came to practice one night. Had a Drake singlet on. It was so cool. His balls hanging out, he'd run around. Well, the damn dog jumped up on somebody's leg and started humping. And from that day on, anytime we talk about hip position, you saw it in the workshop yesterday, we talk Otis. Gives them some connecting pieces. We have Make 'em Fly, Jackrabbit. We have what's called the Cooney Ride. Cooney was one of our wrestlers that never won a match. He never scored a point. And the way he rode was to drape his arms over his opponent's heads, both arms. So, I mean, he's long gone and he doesn't, you know, he's not offended by that. I do have 2 drills I'd like to talk about that I really think are effective. One is called Bull in the Ring. It's real simple. You got rings on the mat, match your kids up, put them in there, chest to chest, head to head, blow the whistle, no throws, just push. No throws. You're going to teach them balance, you're going to teach them strength, you're going to teach them speed, but most of all, you're going to teach them sudden change of direction. Show them how to switch that body around. Aggressiveness, feet position, hip position, learning to stay low. We do so many things that the kids have no idea what they're doing. They're having fun, and they're learning skills. Another one I have over there is a special hand. It's called shadow wrestling. I think you'll find this to be very effective. It's probably one of the most effective learning tools that I've devised. In shadow wrestling, you pair the wrestlers up skill to skill, and you put 30 minutes on the clock. I have 3 coaches, so we have 3 circles going. You got 30 minutes. A kid comes out, he starts with 10 points. The kids wrestle. Now, before the human body can do anything, it has to happen somewhere else first. And it's got to happen right here. It's got to happen here first. So they have to talk. They have to talk every move. If they don't talk, I'll say, 1 point, you're losing communication. You're not talking. They don't talk again. It's 2 points. You're not talking. So they got to talk. And when they start this, they're rookies. But by the end of the year, you have seen young men grow incredibly at their skill. Because it has to happen here first. So they're wrestling and they're saying, double leg takedown, get my base, switch. And as long as they're talking and moving, they don't lose points. If they have poor hand position, poor body position, poor hand position, this is weak. Good hand position, this is strong. We saw our clinician yesterday go from this to make his cradle better. They lose points. Lack of communication, lack of movement, poor hand position, poor body position, all of those things. And you just keep, when they're done, that 30 seconds, you give them a score. You say, 4. Run over and get it recorded. These are recorded every night. They'll get 2 shots. Once a week we do this. And you'll see those scores get better and better. It's really exciting. You get going a little bit. You'll see the kids pair up and they're already, I'll start with a double leg. You go with the switch. You can lose points for lack of versatility. It's all explained in the handout. Excellent tool. You will see your people grow. Remember to record the scores. There's a couple other things over there. We keep pretty accurate stats. And those stats become goal-setting stats. We do goal setting. We don't write them down. We sit around the mat. We talk about goals. And sometimes goals come down to scoring a point. I swear to God, to score a point. Can you imagine that being your goal? And that young man does that. He sets a goal. I want to score a point. So we're wrestling, Irvindale, somebody, hey, Bill's wrestling. He hasn't scored a point yet. That's his goal. Suddenly, there's 20 kids alongside the mat. Confidence, right, Coach? You talked about confidence in the move. He scores a point. He gets the confidence, and now the snowball starts to grow. We try to have fun, too. We do a lot of different activities that involve fun. This age group wants to have fun. Thanksgiving break, we practice, and then we have our pizza Thanksgiving supper. In the winter, we've gone snow skiing. At the end of the year, we have another pizza party with team awards. One thing I really like is how we connect with our high school. The high school usually has a theme and the t-shirts, and we get the t-shirts, and we wear the t-shirts, and they have our schedule on the back. That's cool. I like to take my kids and walk them through a high school practice because they got to know they're not the only ones working that hard, and that really helps them grow too. We've had high school kids come over and talk to our kids. I think that connection is an excellent idea for helping your young people at the junior high. Pairing. There's another sheet over there on pairing. What I do is I take the faxes that I get from each school. I put them in the computer and sort them by weight. I like to have first and last name, their weight, their grade, their record, and then we rate 1, 2, 3. That's the way we do it at the schools we're concerned with. Then, my assistant coaches and I just take blank bout sheets and we pair. And if you look at the sheet, there's a place for 2 matches. So you just start match 1 and you write, it takes 3 people to do it. You write right on the sheet who they're wrestling, school they're from, and you put the match number on it. And then you write it on the bout sheet. And when you're done, we've had over 80 matches. And the way we do it is 2 mats, and we just run it like a tournament. First available mat. PA calls you to the mat, front deck in the hole. It works very good. I know that you have systems that work great. And I hope that maybe over there, if you're a head coach, that you can take something back to your junior high coach. How many head coaches, varsity, high school? Raise your hand. Okay, junior high coaches. Oh, excellent. You are the heroes. Pick them up. I think if you can find it beneficial. But you know what? Even more important, if you've got something to help me, I want it. So if you've got some ideas, my email address is on there. I'd love to hear it. Thank you again for the opportunity to share a little bit about our program at Indianola Middle School. Feel free to use the handout. If I run out, I'll be glad to send you more. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach Rugalla. Up here also, there's some handouts for belt plane wrestling. If you didn't get one of those, the workout Coach talked about. Thanks, John. We will start the clinic at 11:30 sharp. Technique, so we have about 7 minutes.